I believe the ACLU is doing a job nobody else in our nation is doing, and it's a very important job. To watch out for the people that may not necessarily be the most popular or the most well-liked or the most politically powerful, but who nevertheless share the protections of our Constitution.
You know, I come from a country where people day in and day out are risking their life to fight for what we refer here as civil liberties.
Freedom of speech, just that little thing, that makes a big difference. You know, that you can go on the street and say whatever you want and no one's gonna come and, you know, or shoot you or put you in jail.
I'm Stephen P. Smoot. I'm one of the original founders of the ACLU, the Utah chapter here in the state of Utah. Mick Duncan and myself were very much concerned about the issues in Utah. Mick took on the race issues and I took on the aura of McCarthyism. To see that the juxtaposition of what we had to work with in those days to what it is today, it's truly a remarkable sight.
The first time that I got involved with the ACLU was when I was having difficulty starting my own GSA in Tooele High School. Our principal and our superintendent, they weren't allowing us to have this club, so we couldn't peacefully assemble. When the ACLU got involved, I just felt like someone was there to help me. And they sent a letter and said, if you don't respond to us, we're basically gonna proceed with legal charges. And they finally got back to him, and we successfully have a gay-straight alliance in our school now.
If I see that someone's dignity or respect is being violated, I feel I need to do something or say something. I saw people who were in my parish being denied jobs in certain places because of either their religious affiliation or their sexual identity. I see the ACLU doing an incredible work in Washington County. It's really great to have the ACLU there to ask questions, to invite conversations, to give information in a very, very respectful way. People in my parish are beginning to feel more empowered. I want to be a part of that.
My faith inspires my devotion to civil liberties. I believe that we're all sons and daughters of God, and that we should all treat each other as sons and daughters of God, that we all have divine potential. That's why I became involved with the work of the ACLU of Utah, and why I hope to stay involved with the work of the ACLU in the future.
The ACLU had this immigrants' rights project, and I was immediately attracted by it. Sometimes, in the case of refugees, they have spent 10, 20 years in a refugee camp. As a recent immigrant myself, I've experienced some of the issues that just in general the immigrant community faces. I helped with Know Your Rights training among the immigrant community. We went and pretty much explained to them that they do have some constitutional rights that they can exercise while they're in the United States, no matter what their status is.
In Pakistan, torture is routine. And during the Bush administration, they were following along the same trajectory. That was deeply troublesome for me, and that is one of the reasons I got interested in the ACLU. I eventually did an internship. We actually went to Washington, D.C. at a leadership conference sponsored by the ACLU, and we lobbied against the torture. And ACLU is imperative because they continue to safeguard the civil liberties and protect and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Choices regarding a person's health and health care should be made by that person or that family, not by the legislature. And as a woman and as the mother of a daughter, I want to protect that right for my child, for her body.
Being gay in this state is very difficult. I think being gay anywhere is difficult, but it's especially difficult here. I think we sadly have a legislature that seems to like to pick on the little guy, if you will, and a lot of times the LGBT community comes up as that little guy or little gal. and ends up getting picked on. Sadly, that directly affects my life. People tell me because I fell in love with a man, I shouldn't be allowed to marry him, and we shouldn't have those same joys that people have in heterosexual relationships.
I believe in the ACLU, and I've supported the ACLU for years. Most recently, I've been working with the ACLU to stop an effort to amend Utah's Constitution to end affirmative action policies. Affirmative action policies have afforded opportunities for women and minorities that they would not have otherwise had. And that's why it's important. Opportunity matters.
I like to do urban art. I like to do abstract art. I like to do random art. Two guys came up, and I didn't know they were undercover cops, so they put me in this room, and then they were telling me that you've been tagging in school.
It's about 15 gang police, and they were doing a sweep throughout the school. They saw my son's backpack, and they assumed that it was gang graffiti or tagging.
And then they had me fill out a mugshot saying that I was a tagger, and then said that I was a gang member, and then took pictures of me.
You know, we weren't sitting well with that at all. And so we called the ACLU in hopes that they would, you know, help us with this matter, because to be honest, we felt like our hands were tied. I really feel good that the ACLU is involved with this.
I see bridge building, I see understanding, I see education, I see strength, but I see the strength measured and tempered in a way that brings people together.
The ACLU has been the single voice, the consistent voice in our society that ensures that even when they make us uncomfortable, everyone has the right to be who they are.
I'm delighted to be a member of the ACLU because it strikes out at the fundamental concepts that keeps a democracy going.
It is so important to know your rights, and it is so important to have an organization that will fight for your rights.
It's a difficult thing to go before the Utah State Supreme Court on something you feel so strongly about. And the ACLU is there to provide us with top-notch attorneys, great legal counsel and support.
I'm a face of the ACLU, and we're both going to stand up for what's right and not let anybody push us around.
We've got somebody here that's working with us that actually have our back. I feel safe.
Soy una cara de la ACLU porque me importa la igualdad y los derechos civiles.